I supposed to be cooking or am I a cook? I have no idea. Today, I wanted to have a quick chit chat about my relationship with cooking. So, here we go. Good morning. This is IJ. I hope all is well with you today. So, like I said, I wanted to talk to you about this. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because I looked at all my videos and I saw that the videos with the most views are the videos where I was cooking or doing something. And so it got me thinking, well, my plan was not to come here and cook. It was just to, look for ways to make what we already have healthier. But looking at those numbers got me thinking. And so I just wanted to talk to you or let you know what my relationship is with cooking. So most of you who know me personally would know that I am the oldest of 7 and I left home when I was very young. I was 14 and a half years old to be precise. And so I left home and I didn't really learn to cook because I know that many people at that time at my age likely knew how to cook, but I didn't know how to cook. And it wasn't just me. The reason for that was that my parents were teachers. And so all the time we were growing up, we were always encouraged to study. So it was studying and studying and studying. And I was good at it at the time. So I guess I got away with it because of that. So anyway, when I left, I went to England with my aunt, and my aunt did most of the cooking. Prior to that, when I was at home, the most we did really was to help prepare the ingredients for the food. So if we were cooking soup, I would pound the egusi and my sister would pound the crayfish with some pepper because that was easier. So that was how we did what we did. And I know some of you don't realize that there was a time that blenders, as far as we were aware, just did not happen. So we had to pound everything, and that's what we did. Anyway, so when I went to England, I was with my aunt, and my aunt, of course, did most of the cooking. And I watched. I didn't take any notice. I never really thought that it was for me or that one day I would be expected to be cooking. I was 14, 15 at the time. So for me, it was very, very distant. It was very alien for me to be particularly interested in cooking. And I don't consider myself as someone who is particularly good at using my hands to do anything. And so I didn't take any notice. I stayed with my aunt and then I moved with a family up north. That just, was another part of my life. And I didn't participate in anything like that at the time. But anyway, fast forward to when I was by myself. I had finished college or university and I was by myself. If you were single in those days, for me, I thought it was an absolute waste of time to go shopping and buy ingredients and make soup or stew for myself. Why would I want to do that? It was an absolute waste of time. And it wasn't anything that I particularly enjoyed doing anyway. So there was no incentive to do that. It was much easier for me to get some Chinese or get some takeaway. And also at that time, I was working in a hospital. And so our schedule was very tight and we did a lot of emergency hours, emergency duty. We were on call. We were all young. And so that was really not something that we thought too much about. So that was how I existed until in 1993 when I was about to get married. And my husband was in Nigeria. He was born and bred in Nigeria. I was in England. So I knew at that time that the expectation was that I would, know how to cook or would have an idea. But I didn't. And so I watched my friend at the time cook soup. And it was very quick and swift. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, it was so quick and it was so easy. And it just didn't seem, it wasn't anything close to what I thought at the time, because the ceremony to cook soup in those days, oh my goodness, you had to pound all these ingredients, you had to get the vegetables, you had to cut them, you had to do all kinds of things that for me at the time just seemed so difficult and so complicated. So she cooked the soup and I saw how she did it and I thought, oh, that's simple. And so I went home only because I knew that I was about to get married, and so I tried it, and that was very simple. My aunt, another aunt of mine, came and she tasted it, and she couldn't believe I cooked it. And that was really the general view, was if anyone tasted my food, oh, I can't believe you cooked this, and I did cook it. And so that was how I was with food until we got married, and my husband and I came back to England. And then I realized that I needed to do something, because I remember watching him one day. He was trying to make oba, and oba is a very, very sort of how shall I put it? It's a very unique food, and for me at that time, it was always something I thought my mom would do or my mother-in-law would do, not for people like me to make oba. And he was doing it, and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, he likes that, and I really did not know how to do that. So eventually, I learned how to do that from my mother-in-law when she came to visit after we had our first child. Anyway, so that was how I was meddling with food, trying things, really did not understand, hit or miss, whatnot. Until, after a while, to be honest with you, a few years, I started to really think about cooking and wondering why things had to be done the way that they needed to be done. And my friend, my sister friend, Chika, helped me a lot. She would explain things to me, how to make gari, why you had to make eba the way you needed to make it, because my husband was always complaining about me not being able to do it properly. And so once I understood how to do it, I was pretty good at it. And that's one of the disadvantages of learning to cook late, is because you would question everything. Why do I have to add this? Why do I have to mix this with oil before I put it in the pot? All kinds of questions. So for me, once I understood why things were being done the way they were being done, then it made sense. I could extrapolate that to other things that I was doing, and I then became creative. So, coming back to today, that's where I was coming from with food. And now, looking at those views, I kind of feel pressured that I have to cook. So, I wanted to cut me some slack. I'm not perfect. I'm not a cook, like I said. That's the relationship I had with cooking until I started to work on wellness with IJ. So I don't want you to judge me, because, like I said, I'm not a cook. I'm probably going to say I'm not a cook so many times in this video. And that's because I want you to know where I'm coming from. That was not the original plan to be cooking here. But I'm going to do my best to show you how I try to make healthy or healthier versions of the normal foods that we eat every day. So that's my story with food. I hope you bear with me. And if you're watching me and you haven't subscribed to the channel, how do I have almost 200 views on one single video and I don't have that number of subscribers? So I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and tell me what you like about my videos while I continue to work on my love for cooking, because it's still work in progress. I can't tell you that I love to cook, but I can tell you that I like to explore and find healthier options for the everyday foods that we have. So I hope that makes sense to you. And so I'm going to probably stop this video at this point and go ahead to do the original plan, which is to show you how I do sauteed vegetables. Until then, thank you for watching, and please leave your comments in the comment section, and I will see you soon with the sauteed vegetable recipe. Until then, goodbye.